And all that we've been doing the first like 7 weeks or so of school was just kind of a brief overview of Western philosophy from the ancient Greeks all the way up to the postmoderns. And I did this the first day of class, but just to remind you, what we're going to be doing is this is my little construct of the world, if you remember. And at the center we have animism, and then polytheism, radiating out. And then the three biggies we see today is theism, pantheism, and naturalism, materialism. And I'm not claiming this is reality, it's just a helpful tool or symbol where you can kind of zero in on where someone is coming from. And one of the first questions to ask from, you can ask, what was in the beginning? Just based on that answer, I could almost pinpoint where you are. And then with a few more follow-up questions like, what is the meaning of life? Like, why are we here? How did we get here? What happens to us when we die? Now, in addition to these five, and we're really going to focus on these three in this latter part of the class, but I want to get a running start so you at least know what these other ones are. We also talked how there's some hybrids in between these. Between theism and pantheism, we have panentheism. Between materialism and pantheism, we have scientific pantheism. If you remember that movie I showed you at the beginning of class, What the Bleep Do We Know? It was pretty much coming from this worldview piece, and they were attacking mostly this worldview piece, which I thought was super interesting. And then we have, in between theism and materialism, we have deism. And just a quick review of what these are and what I'm going to try to do with you the rest of this class. If you remember when we talked about Kant and others, how these worldviews or paradigms are like glasses. These glasses you're wearing that color everything you see. And like Kant said, people who think they're looking at the world without glasses on, he would call them naive realists. You're not acknowledging your own biases, your own presuppositions, your own points of view, your own enculturation, your own indoctrination, and each of those are going to add lens upon lens upon lens of the world we're trying to see. And so what I'm going to try to get you to do, I think we'll start with the familiar. I don't remember how I have it in the syllabus, but I think I'm going to start here. We'll start in familiar waters, and then we'll move through the circle, and we'll end up with naturalism, materialism, but contrasted with theism. So you all are probably mostly wearing theistic glasses right now. There might be a few exceptions among you, but you were probably brought up in this kind of culture. This is a theistic school. A lot of you probably believe you have a relationship or understanding of the God of theism. And so those are the glasses we'll start with. And we'll use those glasses to then critique pantheism and naturalism, materialism from a theistic perspective. But then I'm going to ask you, as much as you're able, to take these glasses off and to put on these glasses. And then we're going to critique. First, I'm going to explain what the world looks like and how we got here, what the ultimate source of all light and life is. And we're going to critique theism from a pantheistic perspective, and we're going to critique naturalism, materialism from a naturalistic perspective. Then I'm going to ask you to take these glasses off and put on these, and this is where we find mostly atheists, agnostics, etc. And we're going to critique pantheism and then theism. And so I know I'm going to be asking you to do a lot of perspectival jumping around, but welcome to my world. This is how I live. I've got 1,000 glasses that I can take on and off, and sometimes I get confused which ones I'm wearing, but I'm going to try to be fully into each of these worldviews when I'm teaching it. So once again, if you forgot my teaching style, When I'm teaching theism, I'm going to be full on baptized, dyed-in-the-wool theist. When I'm doing pantheism, I'm going to go into Buddha mind. And when I do naturalist, materialist, I'm going to have an atheist, naturalistic mindset. All right? So if you ever want to know what I actually believe, just have lunch with me or come to my office. But in here, you're probably just going to push me deeper into my position. So real quickly, in case you forgot, theist, this would be most of our Western religious tradition or Abrahamic faiths. So we would have Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, but it would also include sects or cults. So I would throw Mormons in here, Jehovah's Witnesses, Kabbalists, all these other sorts of people. Even Gnostics to a degree I might throw into this category. Pantheism, this is where we find most of our Eastern religious traditions. Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism would all fit into this category. Also kind of like the New Age movement we see here in California, and that sort of eclecticism. And then naturalism, materialism, this is where we find many people invested in the hard sciences. Remember, a naturalist believes that all phenomena has a natural explanation. You don't need anything supernatural to explain what's happening in the world. And a materialist simply believes only matter exists. And so I talked to you about, we have this dividing line where on this side it's material, and on this side it's spiritual. Pantheists are monistic materialists, and what I mean by that, I mean spiritualist, and what I mean by that is they only believe in one thing, but that one thing is spirit. So you can call it God, you can call it whatever, but they're thinking in spiritual terms. The naturalistic materialists also believe things can be boiled down to the material, physical substance of the world. Now, whether that's one thing or multiple elements, I mean, that's up to debate, but they believe the underlying reality is physical material. And then we have theists, both Jews, Christians, and Muslims all believe in a real, concrete, physical material world, but they also believe in a spiritual reality. And so in that sense, they're dualistic in that they believe in a physical and material. Here only material, here only physical. And these folks are gonna be kind of probably more in the spiritualist camp. I kind of see a lot of them kind of in between pantheism and theism, but I'm gonna unfold that out next. Any questions about where we're going or what I'm gonna try to do? So I'm gonna present each one as strongly as I can, but they're also gonna get critiqued by two other worldviews to see why they don't believe in them, all right?